Owen Wilson.
The wow bloke, yeah.
Wow.
Owen Wilson, yeah.
Wow. Can you do it? Wow.
Not really.
Wow.
Wow.
That's good. That's good.
What was it?
That's good.
Welcome to Book Club.
Except instead of books, it's games.
Oh, and instead of a club, there's us two.
But the rest of the idea is 100% the same.
As every fortnight, we play one game solidly.
Then come here to talk about it.
And we want you to do the same.
All the games are retro.
Most of them are Sega.
Some of them we've never played.
Or, we've just forgotten we've played them.
Because we're old.
Because we're old. Because we're old.
Because we're old.
The Book Club has one central theme.
We play retro games for their quality.
Games that deserve to still be played.
There are some bonus old man memories to be had, but you don't need nostalgia if the game is awesome.
We're going to prove it.
In the Book Club.
Hello and welcome to Book Club. Now, the funny thing is, none of you will know, before we start, I often sit there just staring at the screen, smiling gormlessly before I can sort of summon up the courage to say hello. It's a bit like me on a date, which if only the person on a date with me was as hot as the person sitting opposite me here. Yes, you knew it was coming. Mr. Dibs Ahoy, hello.
Hello, how's it going? Nice to be here.
Yeah, it's going very well. I haven't seen you for a short while. You've been on holiday. Did you have a nice time?
Oh, it was wonderful, yes. It was an experience. There was camping involved. The weather wasn't too bad. It was, but it was fine.
You know what you can't do when you're camping, and that's play video games. So basically, that's a big thumbs down. So sorry about that. Anyway, your holiday's over, my friend. It's back to the grindstone. We've got some serious talking to do, games to be played, chat to be had. Where are we going? Where are we starting? Talk to me. What are we up to?
We are. Well, actually, I feel like this should be on you today because you're the one with the props. So
all right, then. Tee me up, big boy. Tee me up. Go for it.
So, what is the amazing game that we have picked for this book club?
I'll try and do it in your style. Today we're playing a game by the ambiguous, I can't think of a word for them, Hudson. It's the Saturn classic that is Bomberman. I'm going to do what you do and put it both sides. Cha-ching! And put it both sides just in case. I don't know where the logo is going to be.
I feel completely out of my element. I tripped over my words introducing you because it's not my natural thing. And then you was a bit hesitant in bringing it out. See, it's like we should never do the role reversal.
We should never do role reversal. I clearly don't even know how to hold a cardboard box up in the air.
I know.
Yeah.
Flipping amateur, mate.
Just that is not going on my CV. But there is a reason why it's me doing that side of things and not you today, because number one, I mean, I'm going to do it again because I'm so how amazing that I've actually remembered to have my copy of the game to show. But this is a bit of an old faithful, so some of you, including you, Dibsoy, so you can go make a cup of tea if you like because you've heard the story about a million times. Some of you may know
I'll catch you later.
A few years ago my whole Saturn collection got wiped out of human history because all the discs were in a wallet, moved house, and somehow that wallet got lost. It's a very sad story, and weirdly though I didn't discover it for ages, so it was even sadder. Except for two games survived. One was Sega Rally and the other one was Saturn Bomberman. So there you go.
Well, you can't get much better than that.
You can't get much better. And also, what else survived? My original Saturn multi-tap. Much joy has been had. Yeah, and more recent acquisition, which I'll just show off anyway. We're not even talking about it, but Bomberman Fight. Okay,
there you go.
So we're Bomberman up to the nines.
Bomberman up.
I know.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to up my average, considering that's the first time I've had the game to display ever. No, I think I've done one. I think I've had one. Maybe James Bond too.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, it's funny. It's like why did I not purchase Saturn Bomberman? It's like, well, no, we were kind of like coming up with a theory as to why. That's because basically we all played it around your house. That was like the gathering spot for Bomberman action. And then when we dispersed, it was like we literally mainly played it in multiplayer. So it was almost like out of thought, out of sight, out of mind, I guess. But now it's like I should have bought it because it's super
You really should have
ridiculously
done.
expensive.
The funny thing is, though, although I picked this up new, I don't remember ever seeing it even back at the time.
Yeah.
I think it
you
was
know what?
like,
I never saw it. Yeah. It was like, we used to go to all the kind of like boot fairs, like all the retro shops and stuff. I can't remember ever seeing it except for your copy of it.
yeah, and it wasn't a late game or like a, it was well publicized, it was well advertised.
Yeah.
I think it was popular, and it wasn't late, was it? Like 97 for us, like 96 Japan, 97 for us, and so
yeah,
like I don't really know why that would have been, but it seems quite rare. Anyway, it is, as most people know, like super expensive now. Which I would say, well, thank God the expensive one survived, but half the other games of mine were also really expensive to buy back. Yeah. I did have to buy them back because I didn't lose everything. I had the boxes, but no games, so I just had to I was like for a few years trawling, probably weeks, like trawling eBay trying to get hold of just like disc only copies. Yeah.
Really?
But, yeah, surprisingly hard. It does raise another question though, which is, there's a hell of a lot of Bomberman games, so why have we gone for the Saturn version specifically? And do you want to chuck me some reasons? Should we try and enlighten ourselves as well? I don't know why, which we just did. So, but anyway, why might we have done that? So,
I mean, the reason we're going from the Saturn one because it is the definitive version. It's like the perfect Bomberman game in every area. It's like there is nothing wrong with it. It's like it nails the formula. It is like, it is just the definitive Bomberman game, and it's just perfect in every way, in my opinion. So it's like, why would we play anything less?
I do love that opening comment though. It's a very British game review. Well, there's nothing wrong with it, That's just
no, but I mean, there's no. It has no weaknesses,
No, it like, doesn't. Though I know what you mean.
It down. It's like
yeah.
I mean, actually, the only weakness that it has is that in order to enjoy the full multiplayer experiences, you need a multi-tab, which is no fault of the game, but they're really expensive as well now. It's like everything like negative you could possibly say about the game is outside of the actual game, like in terms of the software quality and
its
things
only
like
fault
that.
is it was too damn popular and
yeah and now with the Saturn prices, it's like they're just all these scalpers taking everyone to the cleaners.
Freaking scalpers taking me to the cleaners.
Oh man, I think it's particularly bad in America as well. It's like if I ever hear like a podcast and anyone like mentions the Saturn, they're all like, oh yeah, like kind of like about the cost that everything like
because that
goes
just
for these days.
That bit harder all over again. Like I randomly watched some YouTube the other day of the guy with the Guinness World Record for the most video games that he owns, and he's Australian. He really pronounced SEGA.
Oh, I know the guy.
And but he doesn't have the US Saturn games. I don't know if that's the reason. I mean, he must have had a fair amount of money to buy all those games, so maybe it's not the reason. Who knows?
You know what he does have?
A weird accent.
I've seen a video of his. Well, apart from that, he has kit from Knight Rider.
God damn.
Like he actually has a kit. Like in his I think he had like some kind of arcade room built outside, like around the back of his house or something like that. And I remember he was kind of like just taking the camera around. It's like, oh yeah, that's my kit from Knight Rider. And then he kind of like went past like, whoa, you got kit from Knight Rider. It's like, come on. It's like, sure, that's like a whole like 10 episodes, and like don't just gloss right past it there. But,
just 10 hours just staring at kit. That's all I want. That's YouTube Nirvana right there. You're right. I mean, it was obviously the game we played the most, and we did own a few Bombermans over the years. Like you had Mega Bomberman, I remember that, and I had a few versions. I think I had one of the SNES ones, but I don't really remember it. And a lot of people rave. I can't remember it's the SNES Bomberman 2 or Bomberman 4. It's one of those that, when we say the Saturn one's the best, there will be a collective eyebrow raised for one of the SNES games. What the quality of this journalism is amazing. It's one of the SNES games everyone else likes, but I just don't remember it.
No, but and there are also like the 3D ones, like on the N64 and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I think, like, you know, I think depending on if people grew up with them and stuff, they have like, you know, a soft spot for them and that. But you know, I mean, Saturn Bomberman's got quite a intense like fan base, hasn't it? Like, you know, it's like
you're right though in what you said, because it's like it doesn't have a flaw because it did each of the Bomberman classic things, because obviously Bomberman's had a very tight formula for like whatever, well now it's like nearly 40 something years, isn't it? But since Saturn Bomberman, 20 odd years, but you know, it's had a tight formula, but Saturn Bomberman does each of those bits really well. You know, it does have a really good single player mode, which we'll come back to.
Yeah,
the multiplayer's excellent, and it like maxes it out with like the big thing, the massive multiplayer, so it does that really well. It's got the anime cut screens and stuff as well. It does it great. It is the one we grew up with, but then of course you did have Mega Bomberman, and that just never quite took hold of us in the same way, and that did have multiplayer.
Yeah, not in the same way. I mean, it did have a good innings for a while. I remember like in one school holiday, like it must have been, it probably was like 94 or something maybe, or something. I can't remember, but it was we did give it a good innings. Like I remember like playing it a lot around, I think I took it around Chris's house or something, and we were all sitting there playing it. But I don't think we had the multi-taps for that one, as far as I remember. I mean, I suppose the most it would have had was like 4-player anyway.
I think it's either 4 or 5. So I guess it's because probably one multi-tap and a pad. Maybe did 5. I think did 5. But yeah, and I think a big factor is the multiplayer, obviously, for why we loved it so much. Because there were a few games where we did massive sessions of multiplayer. Alpha 2 is obviously one of them, like 2 at a time, obviously not technically multiplayer, but you know, a big group of us will huddle around the tiny TV taking in turns, that sort of game. And then Saturn Bomberman was just massive. I mean, we did I think we peaked at 6 players. There were sort of 6 regulars, and you know, most games were probably 4 or 5 rather than the full 6, but we did get to 6, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, we never had the second multi-tap, did we? So we could never get up to the full 10 and whatever. But like, I mean, it was pretty hectic, I remember, wasn't it? It was,
and I think we ran out of mates. I don't think we had any other friends that played Saturn.
Yeah, I know.
That was a convenient excuse. It's like, yeah, of course I would have 10 people at the party, but I haven't got 2 multi-taps. So
it wasn't just like that. The people though, it was like having the amount of controllers that we would have needed,
because those puppies weren't cheap, really. Like when you know, you want to play games, you don't want to buy extra controllers, but see, between us we had 4 people with the Saturn, didn't we? So we had we like had about 8 controllers knocking around.
Couple each, so we probably wouldn't have quite stretched to 10 anyway, but
no, exactly. Sorry, random people who we never invited to play Bomberman, but you never could have done anyway. But the TV was tight. This is the thing I always remember about Bomberman. I had a Grundig, which I've got. I might pop it on the video because I found it a little while ago when I was going to do a video featuring this exact. It took me hours to find it. This little Grundig 14-inch telly, and it lasted a long time until, sad story, a former girlfriend of mine gave it away to someone else. And like,
what?
I know. Basically what happened was I had a TV and a video. We moved in together. She was like, oh, we don't need all these. Shall I give her the video? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. And she gave her the TV as well. And I was like, that was my dad's. It was ours. And it still worked great. So sad times.
That's just bang out of order.
I know.
No wonder you're not with her now. It's like,
that was the reason. I know.
I
told her straight. I was like,
she could have got worse than that. But, oh man,
you're a lovely girl.
You know what I did? Yeah, but you just don't do that.
You just don't do it. It's not you, and it's not me either. It's the fact you gave my telly away. It's just brutal. Yeah. But the point being, it was tiny, and doing normal Bomberman on it, you know, like the normal size screen one, was like absolutely fine. But doing that like HD mode, like the big, I can't remember what it's called, the XL version of the screen or whatever, where it went in the high res mode. Oh my god, I don't know how we did that. It was just so tiny. It was like, I remember
it would have been.
I remember actually, you could get a thing which is like lay 10 bombs at once. You like double tapped
Yeah.
it and it would do.
Yeah,
I sometimes had to do that to find where my player was on the screen because
Oh,
I was just
really?
good look.
You just couldn't see it.
It's quite a good
You know,
tactic.
do you know what I was going to say? I always remember you had this one TV. It wasn't that one you were mentioning. I can't remember if it came before or afterwards, but it was like it had wood paneling still on the
I
side,
know
and it was
what
a
you're
bit
gonna
bigger
say.
than that one.
Yeah.
And we had to hit it with a cricket bat. Because it would start going pink. So then we realised if we hit it on the side, it would kind of click back into the real colour. But
Yeah.
then the more it was doing it, like as the kind of weeks passed, it was like you had to give it more of a hard
I had to go
hit.
harder and harder.
And
and
so
harder.
there was just like we had to get a cricket bat. And the cricket bat would just be lying there next to the
It was,
TV.
no, dude, it was a baseball bat. Come on, I'm not.
What was it, a baseball bat?
I'm not a heathen.
Well, I just remember that, just like, oh, it's going big again. It was just like battering the
Well, it
TV
would go.
with
It would fade, and then the picture would actually like go down into like a, sort of disappear down into a tiny black
Yeah.
dot. It like not immediately, but that's the worst it would do. And you'd hit
Yeah.
it. The thing was, it worked. So you'd hit it, and
Yeah,
then it
that
would
was
come
it,
back.
yeah.
So obviously
You
you're going to
totally
keep
just-
hitting.
Exactly. We were just like,
but of course,
battering the
you remember
TV.
how that ended up, right? Like.
Oh, it died eventually, didn't it?
Well, remember one day I'm sure you were there. Scrooge was definitely still there, and we just hit it as we normally do with the baseball bat. And by the way, do you might remember like all the wood paneling on the side was like falling off because we smacked it
Yeah.
with the bats.
Oh yeah, I remember it was all crumbling. Yeah.
And one day it just didn't come back, and all this smoke started coming out the back of the TV. Like we just absolutely screwed it. And then I just had to tell my parents, I don't know. Oh yeah. Well, all that missing panel down the, don't know. Must have just fallen. When it broke, maybe that broke with it, and all the shame. Just out of the blue.
Yeah.
Who could have predicted it?
Incredible. It's just poor build quality, isn't it? It's like...
I'm surprised we didn't take it out and smash it up actually, because I do remember that we had a bit of a habit, mainly your stuff. When we were done
Yeah.
with something, it would go in the garden.
Oh, yeah.
We'd just smash it to bits. Yeah.
Yeah. It was always all part of the experience.
It's if the opposite today of trying to save things is upcycling, what would that have been? Don't know.
I don't know.
Smash cycling. This
Well,
is
it was jolly good fun anyway.
this is a hell of a tangent.
Well, so it's like Office Space though. It's like when they take that like what is it, like a printer or something like that, and it's like their last day at that place they're working, and they just take it off into a field and just destroy it because it's
Yes.
been winding them up for like months, and they just like trash this thing. It's like sometimes you just got to do these things. So it's
know.
like not just for yourself, but also to teach it a lesson. It's like,
And, like, don't-
this is what you get.
That's what you actually, sorry. I can't tell the last one, which was,
Go
remember,
on.
your car stereo also used to get a beating when it was hacking you off. And one time we was driving along and like you couldn't hit it hard enough with your hand. So like you brought your leg up and started kicking it. And I'm like,
I did.
I'm sure he needs that to drive the car. How is this happening?
It's fine. We were on a straight. It was all good.
Oh, yeah, that's
I
fine.
remember that.
That's all
I used to
normal.
wear big chunky DMs, and I kicked it, and it like went down into like the dashboard. And it was really hard to retrieve because it was like kicked off of like the housing or whatever that held it in place. It was
What-
yeah, but
what-
it's because the tape kept on running, and it
Yeah.
was like very annoying. Anyway.
And that's going to fix. What I want everyone to take from this little exchange is that every time you show us a game that's in perfect condition, people need to remember how stuff got treated. So if one of those made it through unscathed, it really does show you loved it, because
Oh,
my
yeah.
God. So yeah, but all of that sort of stuff belongs to that same memories of being in that room playing Saturn Bomberman. It was a binder. It was a real thing that brought loads of us together. We shared a lot of tastes, I would say, like between us. There's a lot of games we all liked, but that was one that we just all would sort of coalesce around. But it was a good era for it, because we were saying we were thinking what other good multiplayer games are there out there, especially from that time. And of course we did have one other great one, which was that Death Tank Spy, which we just like, that was the other thing, like God, we played that obsessively, and just I don't know, something about it was multiplayer was still quite new. Obviously, there had been multiplayer games on other consoles and on other games and stuff, but it wasn't super widespread. Of course, there's no internet, so you didn't do any like massive like multiplayer experiences and stuff. So those two games really captured us because they had the multiplayer. So
Yeah. Well, the multiplayer just added so much, didn't it? I mean, it's like, I mean, I suppose, like you say, around that era, certain things were cropping up. Like I remember we had the Micro Machines too with the J card. You could plug the controllers in there, and that was always such a fun game. Yeah, and it was like, I mean, just anything like that where you could get a few of you playing all at the same time. It just always worked really well, didn't it?
Yeah, and they were great games anyway. But I think when you've got the multiplayer angle, it really adds loads. Did you play the one-player mode much on the Saturn Bomberman?
Well, this is the thing. It's like, this is what's been a little bit of a revelation to me. It's like, oh, there are pretty good one-player options in this game, because we literally well, I didn't anyway. Like, I know you obviously own the game, so you would have had it more experience with it. But like, we only ever really played it multiplayer, and so coming to it now for this book club, I was like, oh, I really should explore this game fully. And it's like, there's like an entire whole like really good one-player a bunch of modes in this game, and it was like like literally like a playthrough. You complete it, you beat the end boss and everything, and then there's like what is it, the master mode as well,
that's
where
tough.
you kind of like, it's like, isn't it like 20 floors of a tower or something, and you kind of fight your way to the top, and it's like there is like loads of content in here, and it's all really good, and it's like really well done as well, like going to like all these different lands and stuff, and there's so much stuff that, like, all the different assets and that, like with there's like a futuristic land, like a cowboy land, like a jungle, like all these kind of things, and it's like, I've never even seen these things before. It's like all I ever saw was that really high res green screen with the blocks in it that we just used to play endlessly. So
it's weird really actually, cool. Is it, when you've played a game a lot and then suddenly there's more of that game and you just hadn't seen it. Although I must say, we keep calling it, both of us, a one-player mode. Obviously, it is a two-player mode, the story mode. So you can do co-op. Because me and Chris did play it quite a lot. I was saying to you, we just and it's, I don't know, it's quite zen, isn't it? It's quite slow, and if it was a game on its own, it would be okay. But I do really like it because it's so zen, so slow, and there's something that appeals to my kind of OCD side of my brain in how accurate Bomberman as a game is. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's something quite, I don't know. I always clear every level. Like, you don't have to. You can kill the enemies and move on, or clear. And I just can't help myself clearing the level.
No, you got to tidy the place up.
I gotta tidy the place up.
Tick all the boxes. Yeah.
I mean, me and Scrooge did play it so much that we would, I wouldn't say we would speed run it because you just can't really go that fast, but we would know where every power up was. We had a strategy for every enemy. We would just kill them off. I mean, it is a really good game, and it's chill and zen and fun, and but
and like I say, it's like nice to see all the different scenery, because it's like the graphics are really well done. There's so much character, so much color and everything. And also it's like there's more music in the game than just that thing that we've heard like 5 million times and stuff, because it's but all the music is really good as well, and like and even the voice acting, like the M boss guy, like the what's he called, Dr. Meanie or whatever he's called. it's like I quite like this voice actor guy. You did a good job on him.
The story is actually quite good as well, and I suppose while we're on it, we have to mention those anime intro scenes, because it was by far the first game to have like anime FMV stuff in it. But one, it was really good quality, like, because the Saturn video was really good for the time. But it was just, the actual animation of it was really, really good as well. There's a lot of sort of like half-baked anime in games in FMV style, but that was a really good one. And there's a little plot going on, which the anime does tell, which is quite good.
I know, Actually, does it have the plot on the back of the box there? Should
we have a little go?
Let's see what.
gingerly turn it over so I don't get it on the mic.
See if there's anything that went wrong that needs putting right. The old quantum leap style.
It says, devious detonation is the key as this addictive HudsonSoft classic explodes onto the Sega Saturn. Choose a normal game for level after level of boom-bastic fun. They call me Mr. Yeah, anyway. The master game where you really have to use your wits in an all-new special high-score challenge or battle mode with up to 10 simultaneous players. I've read this far before realising, no, it doesn't tell us the story.
Yes, I've just got that. We should have checked that beforehand. But there is like an evil kind of guy, isn't there? And it's something to do with the tower. There's 5 gems you've got to recover. I called him Dr. Meanie, but I think he's actually called Mr. Meanie, isn't he? I think that's his name.
He never passed his doctorate. He was too busy being evil and getting up to shenanigans.
He failed. But but he's the one behind all the hijinks, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he's kind of like a bit of a Robotnik, like building like these bosses and whatever you have to fight.
Yeah,
and...
there's very much. I mean, I think it's a bit of a Japanese trope, but there's very much echoes of Robotnik because he's a bit of a mad scientist guy, or no, he's the evil guy. There is a mad scientist guy in it, but. And then, he grabs a load of the creatures or the people and puts outfits on them or something, doesn't he? I can't remember what he does. He does something like that. Something like that.
Basically, you just need to blow them up. Basically, is the thing.
I just remembered as well, one other multiplayer game, because we were talking about it earlier, was Guardian Heroes. Always forget about Guardian Heroes. That was another from that same area.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
I got what you mean.
Yeah, it was just in the battle mode, wasn't it? But it was 6 player, and I think you said it to me, and I was like, oh, was it? And it was really sort of rumbling as a memory unlocked.
Yeah, it was creeping in the back of my head.
And there's a big old logo saying up to 6 players on it.
There you go.
But yeah, we did play that a bit. Not loads actually, because it was good, but it was sort of a bit basic. Whereas Bomberman was a bit more, good tactics. That
Did you ever think? Did you ever see the Telebugs? Because I always thought that they looked like a bit like the little Bomberman characters. Do you remember them?
Wait, just keep talking this out. I'm gonna Google it while we're talking.
There was like these little robots. There was like 3 of them. I think there was.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
He was a white kind of character, like white suit, and then there was like a girl in like yellow, was it, or something, and then there was a little red one, and they had an enemy called Zudo, which was like the Telebug that went evil, sort of like Car to Kit. Like that kind of thing. But they always reminded me of the Bomberman characters.
Definitely the white one, and actually the black one, but you know what it is, and I'm not going to make a rude joke here, but it's just because you're thinking of the helmets. And like the rest of it is not that similar, but their helmets are quite similar.
But they're quite similar. I think that's the thing. They always reminded me of the Telebugs anyway. So. But
you know who Bomberman does look like, and I only found this out when we were sort of doing a bit of digging into this. I'm going to tell the whole story. People say that he looks like Lode Runner. And there is like a bit, I understand, I'm doing this from my reading, I haven't played this myself, but so in Lode Runner, there is a scene apparently where Bomberman comes on the screen and then he says like, I wrote it down actually, Bomberman becomes runner, see you again in Lode Runner. And people sort of take it to confirm that Bomberman was based on Lode Runner. And there's a similarity because he's got sort of a bit of a futuristic hat on or something. But I'm going to say that the enemies in Lode Runner, like there is an enemy that looks almost identical to White Bomberman, and so I don't know whether I just read it wrong and everyone knows that and that's what everyone thinks, but it seemed to be that people are saying it kind of was influenced by the Lode Runner character. It actually seems a lot more like the enemy in Lode Runner. So there you go. Okay. But he definitely does look like one of them. So there you go.
So the Telebugs thing is out then, basically.
The Telebugs thing is great because they got to make a sort of joke about helmets.
Yes, it was worth the kind of coming round to that.
But
so.
I guess I mean I can see where you're coming from with it. So, this is my really polite way of saying I don't really like him, but Well, look, as a game, I guess we just frothing at the mouth a bit because we love it so much, but it's just Bomberman. Everyone knows like how Bomberman plays. Saturn Bomberman is slick, and the speed is perfect, the moves are perfect, the power-ups are perfect. Like obviously some of the other games, well, Mega Bomberman, I think, had the dinosaurs. I can't remember who else had it. One of the SNES ones has a dinosaur you can ride and stuff. But the Saturn one does the powered up dinosaurs, and they're really satisfying. And just
they're really cool.
like the stage design's really good, and I don't know. So we sort of glossed over all the many reasons. Just suffice to say, for us, it's the best version of the game that's out there.
And actually, I was quite happy today because of like, you know, just in preparation for the book club, I went and put my Saturn in the living room and like, you know, got it through like the HD upscaler thing, put it on the big TV and stuff like that. And my kids were like, "Oh, what's this?" You know, it's like, you know, that immediate like disdain, like, "Oh, is this what you played when you were as a kid?" Because I'm always going on like, "Oh, these are the games that I played when I was a kid." Whatever. It's like within a minute they were like trying to take the controller off me, and then they both like sat there just like playing the game for about 45 minutes. I think they were like just playing the game solidly, and it was like, the game still got the magic.
It's still got
it's
it.
Like,
and you know what?
Sucked them in.
That is such a fundamental bit of it, because Bomberman is simple, and isn't it? Like it's always just been a simple formula, and so like it hooks people in. And then once you're hooked in, obviously one of the things it then does is it does add depth with the moves and stuff, but it's simple. And then people say that's why the 3D ones didn't work, and it didn't work when they tried to tinker too much with like the visual style and stuff. Just keep it plain, keep it simple, and just let it play. A quick nod actually of how much I hate the Switch version. I mean, it's on PS4 and Xbox One as well. Super Bomberman R. I think it was the first one made after like Hudson had been disbanded, and it was like a Konami only game with some other developer. It's so bad. Me and Lars bought it, and like because it's got multiplayer, or there's like a version of it that's got multiplayer, and it's just so bad. So if you want an example of why the Saturn version or why any of the original Bombermans is good, when it's so simple, you think, oh, surely they can't screw it up. Go and play that game and see they can really screw it up. So.
Is that the most recent one they've done then?
I stopped writing notes at that point, so maybe.
So what is it like? Is it like 3D graphics and stuff?
And well, it's almost like, you know, the view isn't much changed. It's slightly more tilted. It's like it does look different. The style is different, but I can't remember why it's so bad. I think it just isn't smooth and fluid, and I think
it just doesn't have that magical element to it.
It's amazing how the little changes can make such a big difference to how good a game is. So
well, one to avoid then. We won't book club that bad boy.
So as well as shaking up a memory of this being it didn't say my second oldest game that I own, because sold everything pre-Saturn, and like we said, everything's gone. That's a good memory. All these like multiplayer memories we've had. Your revelation about one player mode. It's been a day of revelations, but one that I suppose was the most shook. I think both of us kind of felt like we knew about Hudson in the back of our heads. We just, Hudson is just sort of out there, and like, and then we came to sit down thinking, oh, let's sort of talk a little bit about Hudson. We were like, I don't know a damn thing about Hudson.
I was like, they got something to do with the PC engine or something, and then I was like, what was it? I said there was one other game, and it turned out it was a completely different developer, but it just had soft in the title when they threw
I know.
I can't even remember.
SunSoft. Yeah, it's like.
Oh, SunSoft. Oh, yeah. It was that. What was that game called? Astro Superstars. Yeah. But it wasn't them. Anyway.
But that's it. Thrown off by the soft. But so let's put right what's once went wrong, and talk a little bit about Hudson, because they have got a good history, and they probably they are more than a one-trick pony. But it's just they've got a bit of a different. It's not so much they've had a litany of like amazing good IPs and stuff like some of the other devs that we talk about, but they've got a good history. So like a lot of the Japanese companies that we talk about, they started in something completely different from games, and they were just like had a little Radio Shack and were selling radios, and then I think sort of migrated onto selling personal computers and stuff as well, but completely nothing to do with software. Then they started selling software, and I think their little niche was that they would get code, and they would themselves put it onto tapes and would then sell it on. So loads and loads of simple games. So.
Sounds like piracy, but
Sounds a little bit.
Like that.
Sounds a bit shenanigan-esque, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it was legit.
And I think it's not really clear from the stuff I was reading, but at some point they started writing code themselves, and they did develop this thing called Hue Basic, I think it was called, and they sort of some of the software they started putting out was pretty good. And then that was like late 70s. So they started in 1973. That's by about late 70s they were doing software. 1983 they got a deal with Nintendo to do software. And because we were saying obviously like everyone would want to get on the bandwagon, but in 1983 NES was not or Famicom was not a big deal.
Days.
They were early days. Apparently the first, I think I read that.
Well, I think wasn't that the big video game crash as well, where Atari kind of like everything went wrong for them or something. Was that 1983? It was kind of around then. Anyway,
I mean, that was happening, and Famicom then obviously came out, and they were trying to lock down. They had the whole seal of quality thing, and they were very restrictive of letting anyone put games on their device. So it is, it's quite a big deal to have been the first third-party publisher. Yeah. And I think part of it was they had written this basic program, and Nintendo hired them to basically create a family basic coding language for the NES. I don't know what they used it for, but they did it. That's as far as I got.
Well, I mean, it's pretty good call getting in there with the NES, I suppose, wasn't it? I mean, that did all right, didn't it?
It did all right. It was a good move, and I mean, but Bomberman wasn't on the NES first, but they did put it on their early days. I don't think it was their first game, but they did put it on their early days after they released their first one. And Hudson, obviously, the Bomberman, big franchise. Adventure Island, stink. We won't go off on the side story of the kind of Westone and Wonder Boy stuff, but there's that. I'm
sure Retro Martin will know.
He'll know. Put it in the comments, my friend. Yeah, because if we do another tangent,
Martin.
Hi, Martin. Bonk, the Bonk games. I gotta say, I'm not a massive fan of Bonk, but they're quite big. And I like him when he is in the Saturn Bomberman. Then he's acceptable. That's his only acceptable form.
Right.
And then the one I didn't know was that they then, with some other sort of hired help, did the Mario Party games. So the first 8
kind of
Mario Party games, from the N64 one up to the Wii one. So all of GameCube, all the N64 ones, and then the first one on the Wii, I think they did.
Yeah. I know, it's kind of weird, isn't it? I mean, Nintendo are usually quite protective of anything Mario related, but I guess they must have broke them down somehow. So.
Well, they're sneaky, Nintendo, because they make you think that. But then all those Mario Tennis games are made by Camelot, or like some kind of spin-off from Sonic Software Planning. I think I can't remember. There's some link, but it's a company called Camelot makes those Mario Tennis games.
Right.
And
I suppose they did let Rayman into the fold, didn't they? For those, wasn't there like some kind of Mario? Rabbids, whatever it's called, I don't know.
Oh yeah, they did that, and there's another crossover, isn't there? There's a Wario Land crossover with Bomberman on the Game Boy, isn't there? And it's like some Bomberman sort of clone with Wario in it. I can't remember. I've seen it. I don't think I've played it. What was I going to say? When he's Rayman, I just pictured Dustin Hoffman and thought that you were going that. And just for a second, I was like, what the hell is he talking about? It's some kind of
weird angle here, but I don't know. Let's just see what happens.
Got to count the cards.
Yeah.
So,
Bloody Roar, they did Bloody Roar, didn't they? So,
Bloody Roar,
yeah, but no, I never. It was always on my radar, like the PS1 when it was on that machine. Now, I remember it being on GameCube as well. Actually, there was some versions on that. But I was always like, I must pick it up. Never got around to it. Passed me by completely now, but it's still in my head. Like I see a copy one day, maybe.
But I'm going to be totally honest with you. Never in a million years would I have thought that had anything to do with Hudson. I just never made the link. Really, I know them for Bomberman and the PC Engine. It's like that's kind of it. But for those who don't know, so they did co-develop PC Engine with NEC. So what was that? 1987?
Yeah, that was really interesting. Yeah.
So I'm good.
Because actually, it did well in Japan. It's like it did better than the Mega Drive and everything. The PC Engine.
It was
gave them a good footing. I mean, they were still developing games for like Nintendo and then later on Sega consoles as well, while they were still, kind of spearheading the PC Engine stuff. But yeah, kind of quite interesting, really.
Yeah, I think it shows you that they'd obviously built quite a business by then to be getting it. I mean, they'd done other stuff with NEC before, and so, but obviously that's quite a big partnership. And you're right.
It did. I mean, they were looking to take Nintendo and Sega on, weren't they? And it was like we were saying, it did do better than the Mega Drive in Japan and that. So
young upstarts that they were. Cheeky.
Yeah, I know.
So, but I didn't know a huge amount about their games. I would say they're those are some reasonable franchises, but Bomberman is the one that we mostly know it for.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
The PC Engine thing. Can I shoehorn in my ridiculously deep dive factoids? Because these are some impressive factoids. So should we go? Yes. We should go for it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm going to give them all to you.
Don't let me stop you.
Yeah, I'm going to give you both barrels of factoids.
All right.
So Hudson, you can tell that I've read the internet and now want to share all of it with you. But Hudson's name, when they were first started out, they had a little office and a train used to drive past. So I was just remembering the joke you did. Sorry. A train used to drive past their offices, and it was a style of train very popular in Japan at the time. It had a particular wheel configuration. Basically, it looked like an American train called the Hudson. So that's why they called themselves after the Hudson. Yeah. But a fun little spin-off fact is that one of the models they liked was called a C62, and that was the original name for the PC Engine, and the enduring name for the dev kit of the PC Engine. So, I can tell you what joke now. All right, I'll tee you up again. So their name is based on, because this train used to run past their office called the Hudson. They called themselves Hudson. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, well, it's a good job a manure truck didn't drive by, because otherwise it could have been quite different. So, that was natural. Continue like nothing happened there.
It was so sweet to do it. I've got to reveal. Before we filmed this, we were talking about that, and I was crying. I actually had a proper cry with laughter for about 3 minutes off the back of that. So if anyone was left in any doubt this many episodes in, that's where our sense of humour lies.
Yeah.
But I've got another quick one for you, which is the little bee. You know the little bee logo that they've got? It's called Hachisuke, and which is the Japanese for bee helper, or Hachi is bee and Suke is helper. So it means bee helper. There you go.
Oh,
and apparently based on that they liked, apparently no relationship, but the Hudson Hornet, which was like a 1950s car, they really liked. And so they chose the bee based off a hornet. Someone should have told them, different insects, but what are you going to do? And, so that's where they got it from. The Hudson Hornet was a stock car in the 50s. So it used to do stock car racing. So, and we were speculating that maybe.
Yeah.
You can
little Daytona influence, perhaps.
Maybe,
I don't know.
Maybe.
You never know. Because I did always wonder what that Hornet thing was about.
Comes from somewhere.
Yeah, maybe it is that. Yeah. Could well be.
It was known as the Fabulous Hudson Hornet. So there you go.
Wow.
And if you want to look at one in the film Cars, how weird. I just was going to say in the film Cars with Owen Wilson, and just before I said it, you did a little wow. Wow. So the thing is, when anyone starts that in a conversation, you have to have a go.
Everyone does it.
Just
see how well you can do it.
Things you can see. If you yawn and people see you, they can't help yawning. If you do an Owen Wilson wow, people will not be able to resist. Try it on your friends, and so there you go.
Yeah.
So there's a little history of Hudson for you. I think it's fair to say they've released a lot of games, but Bomberman really is their big one. They're not a one-hit wonder, but they're kind of a one really good hit. Wonder. In my opinion, yeah. But then, what about Bomberman itself as a game? Because we're saying it's been, we're saying it's been out for ages, but we're just talking about the Saturn one. There have been a hell of a lot of other games. Do you know any of the others in the series? Like any other stand-ups that you did actually play and like?
Well, we've touched on Mega Bomberman, so there was that one, and then the other one I played was I think it's the one anyway that's on the PC Engine Mini that came out. So I played that one a bunch, but then I accidentally plugged in the wrong USB thing into my PC Engine Mini, and apparently it has a very sensitive board in it for the controller ports, and it blew it up. So now it turns on, but I can't play anything because of the controller ports doesn't work on it. So
those are sensitive little buggers. You know that those
Yeah.
controller boards in the Dreamcast are really sensitive as well. Like I never realised if you plug and unplug your controllers, it can fry them really easily. And like
you know what? When the PAL one came out, I remember hearing something like, don't plug in a Japanese controller into, well, don't kind of mix and match basically. Don't plug one from a different region into like the Japanese one or something like that, because it can blow the board or something. But then I was like, well, that's gotta be nonsense, and I tried it and it was fine. But like I do remember telling a man in the shop about it one time, and he was like, really? And I was like, that's what I heard.
That's what I heard. Yeah. Don't
so
do
that's
it.
interesting.
Maybe
so I'm
like
going to be very careful.
maybe
now,
that was
30 years later.
Yeah, a rumor. Because I think like you can buy modern boards which allow you to do it. It's something to do with something to do with the power supply jolting up and down. So I can't remember. I don't know what I'm talking about, so I'm just going to be quiet.
Well, there is a video I saw of how you can fix that PC Engine Mini thing, and you have to get like a particular chip or something. I can't remember the channel or the video, but I was seeing it. I watched it, and I was like, oh yeah, that is actually what I need to do. So I need to get this little chip. So
I thought you had the chip.
I bought the chip. I put in the exact right numbers. Wrong one turned up. So I was like, all right, okay. So that was like complete waste of time, but I haven't rebought it yet to try and get the correct one. But so it's just sitting there torturing me, because like I say, the image comes on, it does all the nice stuff, but I can't move anything on the screen with the controller, so it's very irritating.
Regular listeners and viewers will hear echoes of the bit where your sister plugged in the wrong power cable to your Mega CD and you ended up getting a Saturn. So we're going to suspect that you were trying to recreate the magic of that and probably frying computers left, right and centre for an insurance scam.
I'll tell you what it was. I had a Raspberry Pi and I plugged that USB thing into it, because I just thought they were all the same. I didn't realise it was like there was some kind of difference between them. But it's like, that's what did it. So never plug a Raspberry Pi USB thing into like a PC Engine Mini, because it's going to do it. So,
I love how gloriously niche that bit of consumer advice is. But
I know.
If anyone else does have both of those, please let us know in the comments, because I'd be amazed. There you go.
Well, it's obviously happened to other people, because there's videos out there of how to fix it. So there.
Well, I'm going to say this. Like with Hudson, I didn't know how far Bomberman went back. So I kind of, to be honest, I thought it started in the early 90s with the like Mega Drive and SNES games. I've sort of may have become vaguely aware of there being the PC Engine one before, but no. Dear listeners and readers, and dear Dibs, it goes back much further than that. 1983, originally on the NEC PC-88, MSX, a bunch of others as well, which I didn't write down because they were just a load of codes.
Spectrum, apparently.
Yeah.
Spectrum I saw. I don't know if that's correct, but interesting.
So it was Japan on those, released as Bakudan Notoko, which basically just means Bomberman, or Bombman specifically. But and then like westernized when it came over. But apparently when it came over, it was released on the MSX, this is in Europe regions, and the ZX Spectrum. And it wasn't called Bomberman at all. I'm going to correct myself. It was called Eric and the Floaters, which is just so good.
That is good. That's weird.
Very weird. It sounds like a band from the 50s. Maybe it was like another reference to it. I don't know whether they had chosen. I think because in the original Bomberman, the little creatures that come around, who sort of things similar to it have made a reappearance, do look like little squidgy jellies. Maybe looks a bit like floaters or balloons or something. But it's given a lot of you will be screaming at your Bluetooth devices or whatever you're listening to us on, And maybe listening in the car and you're about to lift up your leg and kick the crap out of your eye, just like Dibs did back in the day. But there is, it did give rise to an internet rumour, which is that the Spanish version was called Don Pepe y los Globos. So I'm going to do it again, just I like the accent, ready? Don Pepe y los Globos. Which literally means...
That's impressive.
Yeah, which literally means Mr. Pepe and the balloons. And and you can see how it was. And apparently this internet like meme or rumor is because around the time and through all time, Spanish translations have been like notoriously bad, and they've, you know, like completely mistranslated things and changing the meaning of things and all that sort of stuff. But apparently it's not true. And in Spain, it was called Eric and the Floaters as well, which admittedly to Spanish people must have made no sense at all. And there was a game, I'm only mentioning this so I can do it one more time, but there was a game called Don Pepe y los Globos, but it was a completely different game where a man had to pop some balloons or something. I don't know. So yeah.
Well, it's good to know about.
It's good to know. The more you know. There you go. So 1983 for the original. 1984 it came out in the West called Eric and the Floaters. And then there was a whole bunch of others. NES 1985 in Japan. 1987 in like the US. PC Engine in 1990, which was the first one to introduce multiplayer. So that's when I think a lot of Bomberman aficionados would say that's when the Bomberman became the Bomberman we know today. And then Bomberman 2 or Dyna Blaster again on the NES. Bomberman 93 I think is the one you've got on the PC Engine Mini, because that was the first.
Yeah, I forget. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which,
I was going to say the first. It wasn't the first of anything, because the first PC Engine one was 1990. But then there was a game on a custom NEC PC. You can tell I'm reading my notes here because I can't remember all this stuff. But called High 10 Bomberman. And that came out in 1993, and that was the first ever HD game, apparently. And it had 10-player multi-tap support, and it's generally people say that was the forerunner of the Saturn version, which we know and love.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Right. Yeah, sounds very similar then.
Sounds pretty
Resmo,
juicy.
10-player.
I know.
Yeah, sounds good.
Just tick in my boxes, ring in my bell.
I know, I have to look that one up on YouTube after this show, see what that one's all about. So.
Well, I found for some of the little research I was doing for this and for our last video, I downloaded a whole bunch of obscure games on like PC-88 and some of these other systems that we didn't get. And just whacked them on the Ambernic, and they just worked. And the thing that's surprising about it is on the menu of the Ambernic, you can scroll through all the available consoles, and none of these are on there. There's no PC-88, there's no nothing. None of these sort of more obscure consoles and computers, obviously some of these are. And but when you put a game on, magically they come to life. And so
that's fine.
Yeah, so I've now got quite a few PC-88 games. I know. It's quite funky.
Filling in those gaps in the old repertoire there, all the things because that was one of the things when, like, you know, computers like got popular, and you could suddenly be like, oh well, we got screwed on that game, like we never got it over here, and then you could finally check out like all these games. It was like really cool. Opening up a whole nother world. Because the stuff we got deprived of is ridiculous, isn't it?
There is
like the SNES RPG still hurt me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, there's loads of games. So, like, I suppose if you go way back, so I thought you were going to do the 80s. When you go like way back into those the computer era, loads of games that Japan got, and loads of them we got a version, but it was just a complete, you know, balls up version. You know, like a lot of Sega games. A lot of Sega games came out like that, didn't they? You know, they were sort of done by one of the UK houses that would reprogram. So a chance to put right once and right. That's twice in an episode.
Exactly. Well, actually, I think that's the third time we've mentioned it. Cause I kind of went for it before you went for it, but I kind of messed it up because I know.
Do you want to have another go?
Put right wrong.
There you go. Have another go. Put it right. Put right what's wrong. That's 5. I think we should.
History has been corrected. So.
And on that note, I think we've done all we can for the Bomberman franchise. If you've never played Bomberman on the Saturn, known as Saturn Bomberman, then you must. And it is the version I would recommend. I can tell you it emulates brilliantly as well. So if you don't have a Saturn, then you can emulate it. But to be honest, if you don't have a Saturn, go and get a Saturn. That's the best consumer advice we can give you of the day.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's one of those games. It is unique to Saturn. So obviously there's that is a good reason to get it. And although you will, whatever you do, you'd need to go and get yourself a physical multi-tap to give it a proper go. Well, saying that, if you do it on emulator, a lot of them have multi-tap support, so there you go. You could
Well, I mean, like, you can kind of stimulate having friends, like, because you can still, even if you haven't got the people to play the characters, the computer can still, like, you know, utilize them. So it can, you can imagine that you're popular and that you're rich as well with a multi-tap and all this stuff.
That's what I've got all those blow-up dolls for. You know, or at least that's what I tell the wife. This is a joke. It's
quite a scene when you play Bomberman, isn't it? Like...
They really struggle to hold the pads. It's just, you know, sellotape and all kinds of stuff. It's crazy. I know, but yeah, it does play really well multiplayer with the computer. It's just you can kind of work them out a little bit more easily. So you know, you want the randomness of real people.
And also you can it's like one of the things that always was fun when we played with everyone together is when you go into little planes around the edge. When you get out of the game, you can still go in and like go around the edge and chuck bombs at people and stuff, and that was like always a really cool thing, because then, you know, it is a little bit frustrating sometimes in Bomberman, like if you're not playing anymore and you're just waiting for the game to end and it's dragging on a little bit and stuff like that. But they kind of must have acknowledged that. I was like, you know what, we need to put this other thing in, and like, that whole thing of chucking in bombs from the side was a darn fine addition.
I can't believe you missed it. They realised that the game was a little bit dull after you died before, and then they put what once went wrong. We've got it. I think we've done it. We've pushed it. We've peaked. Move on. Right. Well done, us. Obviously, there are bits we haven't talked about in Saturn Bomberman, but I'm not going to go back and rehash it now. I'm going to move us on, and I'd say I've loved playing it, and but I don't know if there's any doubt at all. I don't know how you feel about it. Would you still play it today?
Yeah, I would, and even more so. I think my kids are going to be playing it even more.
Can play it with them.
Yeah, exactly. I got a little gang going on, reliving those glory days. I just need to get the multi-tap, and then we can all get involved. It'd be amazing. But yeah, no, it really clicked with them today, and it was just like it was a joy to behold. You know, just seeing this old game that pleased us so much from our youth, and now my kids are playing it, and it just completely grabbed them, and they were loving it, like laughing, having a great time. And I think it could be a popular staple in the living room.
Can you encourage them to do the air horn? Because do you remember this? The one thing we didn't. I'm gonna have to do it now. But you remember at the start of the multiplayer game, there is an air horn, and so all of us in unison would all be like, What I find really funny about it is just picture the scene, like everyone listens to this and you too, is my bedroom used to be in the attic, and so obviously you know this, I'm telling everyone else, but my bedroom used to be in the attic, so we'd all be up there, you couldn't see in, because like we'd be like, it was through a hatch sort of thing. So before the start of the Bomberman game, if you were downstairs in the room below, what you would hear would be like a few moments of silence, and then simultaneously 6 teenage boys just going that is magic you can't buy. So if none of the last hour has convinced you, that is a reason enough to go for Saturn Bomberman. Now there you go, that surely is the peak. So let's move us along. I would also definitely play it today. In fact, I've played it even this very day, because I just love it. It's still brilliant. So there you go. Conclusions. Everyone else go get it. And we'll go forwards. Look forwards to our next video. And what are we going to play next? Is it another Hudson game? Are we playing Bonk? Or are we going
actually, it does have a connection, because I believe they might have been the publisher of this next game.
So mysterious.
Yeah, I know. It was a Japan exclusive. We're sticking with the Saturn again, and it is Bulk Slash, which has
Nice.
also in recent years had the benefit of a fan translation. So it's really and it's really well done. I mean, it's literally like voice actors and everything like got involved. So
Yeah.
it's like a top kind of like fan project, and yeah, it works really well in the game because of it. So yeah, that's the next one up. So Bulk Slash, a beauty of a game.
We'll have to get into that. I don't know if it's unique that any of these fan translations on any consoles has gone to the same lengths these guys have done, and obviously we'll talk about it more in the episode, but I think it is. I mean, there's been some that have obviously any of the big RPG games where they translate loads of text, that's a big undertaking. Any game really is a big undertaking, but it's the lengths they went to for the quality. I don't think that's been matched, and it's just one of those things that makes it extra exciting to play. So I'm big time looking forward to giving this a go. And although I've had it quite a while, I can't say I've given it a lot of time. You know, I got it around the time of the Fenrir, if I remember right, and just so suddenly there were so many to play. This hasn't got a lot, so it deserves an outing, proper one.
Yeah. No, it's a enjoyable experience in my book. So
true.
Yeah. So is that it? We all done here?
I think so. I think we better move on.
Anything else to say? Any other thoughts? Yeah.
No.
No, we're good. Well then, I suppose in that case, with everything being said, well, this has been great.
Oh, it's just so much fun.